Well, yeah, I learned how to lucid dream, but I still can't come up with something that I'm not already good at doing. I don't know.
Okay, well, maybe it can be singing, because that Miley Cyrus song from earlier wasn't too hot.
Oh, well, you know what? Sometimes I wish I could just fly away from all this.
Well, you're in luck, because Sinan Abdulhak is here to talk to us about flight. Please welcome Sinan.
I was ready to take on this 12-hour flight. Going to Europe would be exciting, and I was ready to travel. But just when I thought I had the whole road to myself, there was this giant guy who happens to sit right next to me. He was so happy, and he wouldn't stop talking. And I'm like, what the heck, man? What are you so excited about? The already tight economy class seats just got even tighter, and oh God, this is going to be a horrible flight. These were the exact words of my cousin when he was telling me about his flight from Australia to Europe. While this wasn't the happiest of stories, don't think that aviation is all that bad. In fact, aviation is something that's beautiful, marvelous, and amazing. Just think about it. It's incredible to see over 1 million pounds of aircraft lift off into the sky as if all that weight means nothing. What many people don't realize is what it takes to get you from one airport to another. Today, we'll be taking a flight on Lufthansa Airlines from Frankfurt to New York. Join me on this journey, fasten your seatbelts, and together, we'll x-ray this flight. It's 6 a.m. the morning of our flight from Frankfurt International Airport. We'll be checking in at Terminal 1 and head over to gate Z53. We'll also be checking in our hefty 70-pound bag. But Lufthansa is already imposing a $300 surcharge to check in our bag because it is over the weight limit, which is interesting because while fuel and cargo account for a whopping 60% of an aircraft's weight, passenger baggage takes up a mere 10%. Wow. Thanks, Lufthansa. Let's check it in anyways. The baggage tag that's attached to our bag is a remarkable piece of technology. On each tag, there is a 10-digit barcode. These 3 numbers correspond to the airline code. These 6 digits are the unique ID of our bag, and the first number indicates a special message. For example, a 1 means that our bag is really important. And it sure is. When the bag leaves your sight, it will travel through 6 miles of sophisticated track powered by 23,000 motors with over 100,000 wheels. And all of this is just to get your bag to your flight on time. An airport is intricately designed to achieve the most efficient passenger flow possible. While we're walking through the airport, there is someone dedicated exactly to watching traffic patterns. And these patterns reveal some really interesting things about how we walk. Groups of passengers travel in a V formation to talk to each other, while also acting as a roadblock to oncoming passengers. Europeans tend to step to the right to avoid one another, while passengers from Asia tend to step to the left. If a European encounters an Asian, well, you've got an instant traffic jam. After some walking, we finally arrive at gate Z53. It's finally time to board. Today, we'll be flying on an Airbus A380, the world's largest passenger jet. With wings longer than the distance of the Wright brothers' first flight and a weight of over 1 million pounds, it's no wonder they call it the Queen of the Skies. Welcome to economy class. There is an incredible amount of engineering in this airplane cabin. The very airplane seat you're sitting in has been abused and tested to make sure it can handle serving millions of passengers millions of miles. Your tray table is tilted up at exactly 3 degrees. This is useless on the ground, but once the airplane is angled in flight, it becomes perfectly flat. An airplane cabin is the most precision-engineered environment you will ever experience. It's time for us to push back from the airport. Handling that job is the Goldhofer AST-1X pushback truck. With its 17-ton chassis and dual 16-liter engines, it has enough power to lift and push back an aircraft 40 times heavier. As we taxi onto the runway, we'll be taking off with the help of 4 Rolls-Royce engines. At maximum power, the tip of the fan blades reach astonishing speeds of over 1,000 miles an hour. The center of the engine has a spiral. This is to deflect birds from flying into the engine. It's time for us to say "Choose to Frankfurt." As we hurtle down the runway, the pilot says, "V1, rotate." This means that we've reached our takeoff speed of 180 knots, signaling to the pilots to push down on the control stick, tilting the aircraft up. And just like that, this flying city is now airborne. After admiring the beautiful clouds at 40,000 feet and settling into your cozy economy class seat, dinner is served. But it seems as if food in flight tastes different than on the ground. And actually, that's true. When we're talking 40,000 feet, the air pressure drops and the humidity is astonishingly low at just 12%, which is actually drier than most deserts. This combination reduces your taste bud sensitivity by 30%, making foods taste more bland. That's why foods in flight often have extra salt or spices. Suddenly, the pilot tells us to fasten our seatbelts because we're flying through some turbulence. But the pilots aren't scared that the plane is going to fall out of the sky at moment's notice. Rather, turbulence is a liability issue. I'll be blunt. Lufthansa doesn't want to deal with you if you happen to bang your head on the seat. The turbulence gone and us settled into our seat, we sleep through the night while the sophisticated autopilot system on board flies us to New York. The airplane has multiple computers and sensors located throughout the airplane that control how it flies. According to the flight plan inputted into the flight computer, the airplane will make different adjustments throughout the flight. After a long night's sleep, we wake to the captain's PA that we're 100 miles out and beginning our descent into JFK. Our pilots actually want to land into the wind. If we have a headwind on our plane, then we'll be able to get more lift, enabling us to fly at a lower speed. A lower speed landing is safer because we'll be able to brake before we run out of runway. As we descend at our rate of 2,000 feet per minute, the pilot lowers the flaps, enabling us to fly at a lower speed with the same amount of lift. This is crucial to getting us to that low speed needed to land. All of these factors combined enable the A380 to land at a speed of only 160 miles an hour. For an aircraft of this size, that is incredible. New York City is now in sight, and we're only a couple hundred meters above the runway. Slowly we descend until finally we hit the ground. We made it. Our A380 will go on to fly millions of passengers, millions of miles for the next 20 years. Your flight is more than just getting you from point A to point B. It's a giant, complex system more sophisticated than we can ever imagine. There's a lot that goes on, and what you see as a passenger is only the tip of the iceberg. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the gift of flight.